TalkTV. Now, the Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, has told Tory MPs there's little room for tax cuts in the spring budget after a warning from the IMF about the country's finances. Joining me right now is former Bank of England economist Carsten Jung. Good morning to you, Carsten.
Good morning, Julia.
Thanks for joining us. So what did the IMF had to say, and what does that mean for the spring budget in March?
So the IMF said that it is not a good idea for the UK to cut taxes more because already, especially scheduled for after the election, weirdly, the current government has scheduled a lot of cuts to public services. It hasn't said where or how, but we already have struggling public services, and these cuts will come. So if we now take more funding away from them by cutting taxes more, then this could really push public services over the line. So the IMF, which is usually quite neutral, took the step to say, don't do more of this because public services could come to their knees, and that could really hurt economic stability in the country. So in a way, the IMF is saying, what are you doing?
They say that to us quite a lot, though. I mean, the IMF was anti-Brexit and predicted absolute devastation to our economy and the like. So, I mean, a lot, again, as we know, with a lot of forecasts, those predictions, you can take them with a pinch of salt. However, they were basing, what the government itself is planning to do in terms of how they're going to balance the books. That's what they were basing it on. But this is the thing. Lots of people predicting there are going to be tax cuts offered in advance of the next general election, whether it's the spring budget or later on, maybe in an October budget as well, before a November election, as lots of people are expecting. Also expecting the Labour Party not to talk about raising taxes. No one's going to talk about raising taxes, but everyone knows that, public services are in dire need right now, and that people are kind of at the level. I mean, most people feel like they're at the top end of their taxation levels already, and we know it's the highest tax percentage of the GDP in decades. Where is there room to manoeuvre for any of the political parties?
Well, I'm actually not sure if it's true that most people say I'm at the absolute limit, because actually the majority of Britons, and it's actually true across all groups, age, gender, men and women, people in the north, people in the south, the majority of all these groups say, I actually prioritize more spending on public services. I prioritize that over more tax cuts. So people really want us to fix public services and aren't as keen as perhaps the Chancellor is on squeezing every pound of tax cuts that they can get. We are still, in global comparison, for example, compared to the four big European countries, a low tax nation. The four big European countries have 8 percentage points of GDP higher tax rates than we have. So there is room to go without stifling the economy. So we have this space, and we should really do it. And final point on this, there are huge injustices around how our tax system works. So if you get your money out of investing money through a passive investment fund, say, you pay only half the tax that you pay in terms of tax from work. So somebody who goes to work every day pays double the tax that somebody who just sits at home and makes money from a big investment fund. We could just fix that and actually increase our tax take, and then have more money to fix the public services.
Or you could cut the tax on people who work, like the national insurance. I mean, I hate the national insurance. Call it a tax, and what it is, because lots of people think, oh, I've paid in, there's a little pot of money sitting for me at the end of my career. No, there isn't. It's all been spent. Can I just ask you just about the Rachel Reeves, the Shadow Chancellor? She has said that the Labour Party would not actually reverse the scrapping of the limit on city bonuses, saying no, they're very welcoming of business in the city and finance. We know huge percentage of our tax take in this country is paid by those working in the city and all those big banks and the like. That city bonus limit was brought in the wake of the financial crisis. Is that going to make a difference to anybody, that's not going to come back in? Is that a big deal in the city?
I don't think it's a big deal. I think this was, you know, it's an important move to signal that, you know, finance has a social function, you know, and it should run in the interest of society. We had, you know, the financial crisis ravaging public finances, destroying many people's job opportunities, and all the while having huge astronomical banker salaries. That felt really off. I think it's still not a good look, but really the big deal is that we have a tax system that gives many people that often huge sums of inherited money and pay very little tax on that. And that's really the astronomical leak in our tax system that needs plugging. Yeah. So bonuses in this context is really a distraction. We should fix these loopholes in our tax system to fund public services properly. And I think it's really important for people to realize Jeremy Hunt currently has scheduled £20 billion worth of tax cuts for after the election. Yeah. Where's this going to go?
Yeah, exactly. Like, where is it going to come from? Carsten Jung, really appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much indeed.